To be here again this year. My name again is David Krikorian, and I live up in the town of Madeira. And I did run for this seat back in 2008. I ran as an independent candidate. We did very well. In fact, we were the highest vote-getting independent candidate anywhere in the entire United States of America. And I think that's for a federal election, I should say, for the U.S. House of Representatives. That's one of the, I think, strong points of my candidacy and why I will be able to defeat Gene Schmidt in November. You have to be able to appeal to conservatives in our district. You have to. The district, the 2nd Congressional District, many of you may know the landscape, but it runs from this eastern edge of Cincinnati, and it goes clear on out to Portsmouth and Waverly and Brown County and Adams County and Claremont and everywhere in between. So you have to be able to appeal to conservatives, and the district as it's structured right now is a little bit different than it has been in the past, and the way it's structured right now has been largely conservative for the last several decades. I know I can appeal to those folks, and that's why I think we are the best candidate in this particular race to defeat Gene Schmidt this November. Now, I'm a business owner. I came to Cincinnati back in the early 1990s. I was born and raised in Rhode Island, went to school in Boston, came out to Cincinnati when the Fidelity Investments facility over in northern Kentucky, many of you may know what this is, over in Covington, Kentucky, was being built. I came down to work at the facility. Didn't think I was going to be in Cincinnati for what has amounted to my entire career after that. But I like it here. My wife came down. Actually, she was we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. She was finishing up with college, and she came down about a year after me. We got married, we started to have children, and Cincinnati, as many of you know, is a wonderful place to raise a family. So I worked for Fidelity until the late 1990s, went back to school, got a master's degree in business, went to work for Deloitte & Touche in their consulting practice, went to work for Cincinnati Bell, was an executive in their corporation, and then struck out on my own back in the early part of 2002. I'd always wanted to be a business owner, and I started a company that provided what's called data centers. We provided basically computer services for very large corporations here in Cincinnati, and I started that business back in 2003 right here down on 3rd Street. I sold that company in 2006. It was very successful because I had started another company in 2003. And I didn't start it as a company, it kind of happened that way. Do you guys remember the playing cards that were issued by the U.S. government back when we first invaded Iraq? Does anyone remember those, the Iraqi Most Wanted decks? Okay. I had nothing to do with that product, but that's what started my company. You see, I came out of a Wall Street environment, and I saw what a lot of these people were doing. This was back around the time of Enron and WorldCom, and a bunch of the corporate shenanigans that were taking place. And I always felt that that was a far greater threat to our country than Saddam Hussein in Iraq. So I put out a pack of playing cards called Wall Street's Most Wanted to kind of play off of the fact that we were, invading this country without a real cause. And I didn't do it to start a business. I did it as a political statement. We put that product online, and we ended up selling them all over the world. And that led to us doing playing cards for politicians, for sports teams, and now I'm happy to say that turned into a multi-million-dollar company with playing cards and jigsaw puzzles and posters and art prints that are sold all over the country in retailers big and small. So I kind of have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing from a business perspective. Jobs is the #1 issue in the 2nd Congressional District. And I've got experience in creating jobs, putting businesses together. Now, I too also have several endorsements. I have been endorsed by Vice Mayor David Crowley, former Cincinnati Vice Mayor David Crowley. I've also been endorsed by the mayor of Portsmouth, Ohio, which is the big city on